What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Man. Got my guys in here again. I got Jim. Got my guy Clayton in here today. Man, we got a few things to talk about. So look, before we get into that, my fault. Before we get into that, the playoffs from yesterday, right? Clayton, really all of us, we had a discussion about like how the lady, what's the name, Christie Sides, how she was coaching the what is it? The Indiana Fever. Mm-hmm. And so I got
you
to
mean
think,
Stephanie White? You mean Stephanie White?
I'm sorry, yeah, Stephanie White. Okay. And I got to thinking, like, is she in your opinion? I want to know everybody's opinion. Is Stephanie White an upgrade, or is she a better coach than Christie Sides? What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today?
Doing great. I'm good, Jack. I'm good.
Sorry, I had a 7:30 golf tee time this morning. It just got done.
Oh, okay.
Okay. How many balls you lose?
About 15 this time. You know,
my man.
You talking about one hole, so
stay consistent, my brother.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, man, I was asking Jim and Clayton because we had a discussion yesterday about Stephanie White and how she's coaching the Indiana Fever. And my question today is Stephanie White better, or is she an upgrade from Christie Sides from last year? The coach who started out with the Fever,
I think it's just too early to tell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just really too early to tell. I mean, the key is going to be if she gets them to the playoffs or not. I think that's going to be the measuring stick, I mean, the regular season in the WNBA can go either way, up and down, depending on the injuries and everything else. But if she's good enough to get them to the playoffs, then that's when you really want to start measuring her against the old coach.
And her, go ahead, Clay.
Well, I mean, man makes a good point. It's so early with this new team, but I will say, if you look at her coaching record, like mine is Indiana. Mm-hmm. Her as a professional head coach, she has a better record than Christie Sides. Mm-hmm. So if you want to use that as a metric, she may be a better coach, but that doesn't mean she's a better fit for this talent that she have in this Indiana program.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we don't realize that coaching isn't just, calling plays and everything. Coaching is building relationships. Coaching is knowing your players, knowing when the good parts of them, knowing the bad parts of them, when to take them out, when to take the criticism, and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Can she turn Caitlin Clark? Can she keep at the status that she is now? Or, if Caitlin Clark game starts to go down, does she have the power to bench Caitlin Clark? Those are the things that, will determine if she's going to be a great coach in Indiana. Mm-hmm. How she deals with the controversy is going to be the key.
Well, what I was saying yesterday was I think she's right now, early in the season, she's stunting Indiana's growth because she's coming in, taking a running team and trying to make them a grind out defensive team. And that's not who they are.
And the fans don't like it. The fans are definitely voicing their opinion about, hey, this isn't the game we thought we were going to see, right? And the last thing Indiana wants to do is have a grind out kind of team that wears on Caitlin Clark to where she can't physically handle it.
Yeah.
And that will definitely show Stephanie right the door.
Oh yeah.
I also think it's affecting Kelsey Mitchell's outcome. Although, without Caitlin on the floor, she's struggling, because she don't have that set up and she has the ball in her hand. I also think because Stephanie is putting so much onus on defense, Kelsey don't have her legs under her like she did last year because they putting so much emphasis on defense, picking up full court, all this stuff. So it's taken away from her shot.
Well, but let's not remember now, when Indiana went to the playoffs last year, they got beat because of defense. You know, they could not play defense last year. So maybe she's trying to change the moment. I mean, change the status of what they do, because you know, if you can score 75 points a game, the key to winning is going to keep the other team from only scoring 74 points.
Well, I'm gonna say this: that last year they lost in the playoffs, not because of defense, because Connecticut didn't score a lot of points either. You know, they lost lack of experience. In that second game, they was right there at the end and they just ran out of gas. But I wouldn't say it was because of defense, because Connecticut didn't light up the scoreboard necessarily. And also you got to remember what got them in the playoffs. They was outscoring everybody. Everybody was afraid to face Indiana going down the stretch because they was young. They had nothing to lose and they could score the basketball. They was averaging damn near 90 to 100 points a game toward the end.
Hey, Clayton, you're right about that. But just like Ray Lewis says, defense wins championships. Offense wins games. Defense wins championships. And if you go to the NBA now, Indiana and OKC play great defense. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's to me, you know, Indiana has that offensive power. You know what I'm saying? But I think the defense is what's going to get them to that next level. And maybe the coaches is thinking the same thing. And the crazy part about the WNBA is the fans run the WNBA. The fans run it right now. So if the fans aren't liking the way they play, they're going to stop coming. As soon as they stop coming, somebody's going to get fired. That's it. That's the plain and simple.
I also want to say this, though. What good is stopping teams if you can't score? Now,
well,
when she came in, all she said was, we don't have to become the best defensive team. We just got to be the worst. And I think with a few player additions, you already improved enough. You don't have to make it be, we're going to try to grind and murk up the game. You got to be able to score points.
Right. But you, to win a game, you have to score more than somebody else does.
Yes. And now
that's how you win. That's how you win every sport.
Right.
You have to score more.
Now, if you take offensive players and you putting all the emphasis on defense and it's taken away from their offensive production, you're hurting your cause. Then that's what's happening to Indiana. Those offensive players don't have nothing left on offense.
What do you guys think of this? Maybe this is what's happening, and I've got no inside track here. But what if she's what if she's kind of playing the Mr. Miyagi role here? Right? Let's focus everything on defense up front, get used to that, and then ease back into where our strengths are, right? So I think it comes back to what we were saying earlier. This is early in the season.
It's too early.
It's early in the season. Let's see how this plays out. And maybe they start off really focusing on this kind of style and then build back in to the things they know they're good at.
Yeah, and I agree.
Let's see. Go ahead, man.
I agree. I caught the show yesterday, and I would love to comment on the fact that somebody called Caitlin Clark Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? Why, Mike? Why?
We explained that a couple times. We didn't call her Jordan.
Huh?
We didn't call her Jordan.
So you said somebody called her Jordan.
Yes,
and then he was like, okay, if she's Jordan, shouldn't such and such be Akeem or something like that?
Right. That was
that Mike explained to you.
Yeah, please explain that.
So if the whole thing was, if Caitlin Clark is Jordan to the WNBA, as far as like the excitement and the attention that she brings to the game,
the marketability.
She's not. She's not.
She's not Jordan to the WNBA.
Yes,
she's not. No, absolutely not. Yo, let me tell you my opinion on that. For one, that's an insult to Jordan. Okay, Jordan spent his years building his brand. Then you doing the same thing that they did to LeBron James when he first came in, anointing him. Let her play her game and become Jordan. Don't make her Jordan.
Let me explain, man. Let me explain something. LeBron came in and they were trying to compare him to Jordan in terms of his basketball ability and what he would accomplish as a player. The Caitlin Clark thing is not about her basketball ability. It's about what she's doing in terms of the popularity and the eyes and the television viewership and all that. She is the most popular athlete right now in the country. That's what the comparison was, not her basketball ability.
Hold on. But we're comparing her to Jordan. When Jordan, Mike, listen. When Mike was in his second year of the league, he wasn't the top star.
He was.
He was not.
Well, you don't see it that way. But the television viewership, Sports Illustrated, all the newspapers, all the advertising, everyone saw that Michael Jordan was the most popular thing in the league as a rookie.
No,
attendance went up, viewership went up.
You Jordan fans killed me. He was not the most popular thing in the NBA in years. Chicago wasn't even selling out the stadium at that time.
They were.
They was not selling out. Come on, why do we forget about Jordan first 5 years?
When he came into the league and he started doing what he did that rookie year, all of a sudden games sold out. And the Bulls ticket was the hottest thing in Chicago.
No, in Chicago they had nothing, and it wasn't. Listen, hold on, and it wasn't the hottest thing in Chicago because the '85 Bears and the '86 Bears was killing in Chicago.
I'm just telling you, man. Go back, man. Go back and watch. I think it might have been "Come Fly with Me."
When Jordan came in, it was the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson era. It was them. They were the most popular thing.
Man, let me ask you this. So you're saying that when Jordan came to the league, he kind of like people didn't see like his star rising. They didn't see that he snuck up on Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Bird and Magic Johnson, when they played against them, and Mike was still in college. Mike dominated them when he was in college, and they was man. Come on,
he hit the
ground running, man. Again, are y'all being Jordan biased or what?
No.
What's the situation?
No.
When Jordan, what year did Jordan come into the NBA?
83,
wasn't it
83, 84?
No. Okay. I think it wasn't 83. Was
it's 84?
I think it was 84.
84 was the Olympics.
All right.
84. Okay, so you're trying to tell me between 84 and 86 that Jordan was the most popular player in the NBA?
I think he had the most factor.
Yes.
He had
Jim, we're not talking it. We're talking
exactly
most popular.
What we're talking.
Yeah.
No,
we're talking most popular.
He was the most popular thing that was this. There's something special about this guy. No one can explain it, and that was exactly the comparison to Caitlin Clark.
That was the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson era. Okay, Jordan really didn't come into his own until '89, and everybody was like, "Okay, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan." Okay, everybody,
Michael Jordan,
huh?
He's always been Michael Jordan, and when he got to the pros, people were like, not saying, "Hey, this guy's going to win the next 10 championships." They were saying, "Hey, look at this guy. There is something special about his athleticism, the way he looks, the way he moves, the way he's commercials."
I'm not denying that part.
That's what made him popular. People could not take their eyes off of him.
Yes,
people cannot take their eyes off of Caitlin Clark.
Showtime Lakers was the most popular thing going on. Magic Johnson was the most popular thing going on at that time. Y'all Jordan things want to say Jordan is like the messiah of what basketball is. Jordan is good. I admit that he's good, but come on, guys. Now we're going to say as soon as Jordan got in the league, he overshined Magic, he overshined Bird, he overshined Ewing.
Yep. He overshined, of course, Ewing, but he overshined all those historic franchises. People could care less about watching those historic franchises. Everybody wanted to watch him. And that's why Chicago started getting more television games on TV than your historic franchise.
In them 80s, everybody was watching Lakers Celtics. Please let's not change the narrative of what's going on.
I'm just saying to you, They was watching Lakers Celtics, but then he came into the league and started doing what he was doing, and everybody changed their direction and started tuning into him.
Listen,
a losing team, man, on a losing. He did it on a losing team.
What did he do again? What did he do on a losing team?
Took him to the playoffs. He took a 300 team to the playoffs his first year there and every year after.
Again.
And then he eventually won championships.
Again, we're talking when he first got in the league, what you guys are talking about. We're trying to compare Caitlin Clark to Michael Jordan. And what I'm trying to say is
only the popularity.
That is unfair to her.
Huh?
That's unfair to her.
It's only the popularity. That popularity is what it is. She ain't even trying to get it. It just is what it is. Her popularity is very much reminiscent of a Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan when they entered into their professional ranks.
Again, look at what you're talking about. Tiger Woods wasn't even the best player when he entered. You know,
we're not talking about best player. We're talking about popularity.
Listen. What you got? Let me finish my statement. Then we can move on. Tiger Woods was popular because he was one of the first black athletes in golf that we could relate to. Okay. That's why Tiger Woods was popular. It wasn't because he was winning.
Hold up.
We can relate to it. Let me finish.
And also, that first Masters, when he lapped the field, his driving distance, the way he hit the ball, the way he scrambled, the way his strength, it was unprecedented. So not only did black people tune in, but avid golfers was enamored with his ability.
Clay, again, did he win that? No.
He did win that Masters I'm talking about.
Tiger was not win his first Masters?
I said the Masters I'm talking about when he lapped the field. Everybody tuned into that. He stopped the country.
Clayton, that's what I'm talking about.
His first Masters win stopped the country.
Listen, Clayton, that's what I'm talking about that we sometimes forget. We forget Jordan's 5 years. You forget the 2 years that Tiger would play before he won his Masters.
And I'm not forgetting. I'm just saying to you why he was popular. You said he was popular because black folks tuned in. I'm saying no. He was popular because black folks tuned in, and also golfers was enamored with his ability.
Clayton, do you remember when Tiger Hold up. Do you remember when Tiger first got there and the man, Jack Nicklaus, said he could be average? We don't know because we have to see.
I don't remember Jack Nicholson saying that.
Dude, it's a lot of things you don't remember.
I know a lot of people.
You don't remember a lot of things.
Because listen, one measure is the amateur championships. And I think he won so many of them, they knew he was going to be great.
Listen.
Am I not right in that? Jim, do you recall golf, Jim?
Yes.
Yes. Man, you recall, and it's something about when you win those amateur tournaments that they all go, and he won them, dominated them.
And I think the analogy with Jordan and Tiger is very similar in that before they had championship success and majors and all that kind of stuff, people recognized a palpable buzz, an energy, the it factor. I don't care what the undescribable marketing. Something's gonna happen with this guy,
right? And that's not. And I didn't say that people didn't recognize that. What I'm saying to everybody, and please, everybody, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying it takes time to build that. Okay, no one comes in and becomes that. It doesn't happen.
Man,
you have to build that.
Go ahead, Mike.
So we talking about the buzz that Tiger Woods had before he even touched down in the majors. When Mike Jordan hit that shot against Georgetown as a freshman.
Yes.
That is what put we follow Mike from freshman. Just like we followed Caitlin. Just like Caitlin Clark got followed from Iowa to the WNBA. That's all we say.
Listen. What did Jordan do in his first year?
What first year?
Exactly.
Which one? What are you talking about? Which one? College or pro? What you talking about? He went to the play. He took the Bulls to the playoffs.
What did he do? I'm asking you a question. What did he do? So he only went to the first round.
He averaged 28. He averaged 28 points a game.
He went to the first round of playoff. He went to the first.
I think he led the league in steals. Averaged 28 points a game. Won Rookie of the Year. And and I don't know the other stats like the rebounds and assists,
and got beat in the first round of playoffs.
But I'm just saying, but you keep making that be the thing for popularity, and it's not.
No,
it's the way he played the game what made him the brightest star.
That's what I'm saying. Clayton, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not making that the popularity. I'm trying to say is this, okay? When we put an athlete and tag them with names like Jordan, Tiger, what we're doing is we're setting them up. Because to live up to that Jordan name, because we want to call them the best, okay, you got to play at the high level all the time. If Caitlin Clark gets hurt tomorrow, why do we put pressure on it? The last time we did that was with LeBron James. As soon as he came in, we called him King James. As soon as he came in.
But no, he called himself that. But you missing it. You missing it. The conversation isn't Caitlin is the best. She's like Michael Jordan. The conversation is her popularity is as big.
The conversation started. She's like Michael Jordan.
But it was, Mike. That's why Mike tried to explain. It was about the popularity.
Yeah, her effect on the WNBA is the same effect that Mike and Tiger had on their respective sports.
That's it.
So we're not saying that she is Mike. We're not saying that she's Tiger. We're just saying.
Oh, you are absolutely saying that. She's like Michael Jordan. That's exactly what you're saying.
I'm gonna say because I'm gonna say no. That's how you're receiving it. Because even though it's been explained, you're still locked in to receive it that way.
Okay, so why can't we just determine she's who she is?
Oh, yeah, she is.
She is who she is.
Right. But when you, like I said, when you put that stipulation, she's like Mike. What is I mean, so you're trying to say she's popular like Mike, but she doesn't play like Mike.
Right.
Look, man, the same thing happened to Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods hit the golf links and all that stuff, they said they compared Tiger Woods to Michael Jordan.
Yep.
After he started winning.
Regardless, they compared him to him because of and they wasn't comparing him because of winning. They was comparing him because of his impact.
Okay.
And Tiger Woods then started hanging out with Michael Jordan.
Let's compare this. Caitlin Clark, Rookie of the Year. Michael Jordan, Rookie of the Year.
Mike broke records his rookie season.
All-star appearances, both rookie year. Caitlin was a start. Was she a starter? All-star.
Yes. Yes.
Mike and Caitlin, rookie all-star starters.
Yes.
You guys remember the Sports Illustrated with Michael on it? I forget, but Mike was
Time Magazine. This young lady already on Time Magazine.
Yeah. I think the comparison, at least on expectations, and the marketability, makes sense to me.
Yep.
It makes sense to me.
Again, I understand what you guys are saying, but when you go to compare somebody year two to somebody that has a career like Jordan has had, you setting them up.
Well, no, all right. So look at this though, man. Like, all right,
love you, man. Love you, boy.
Look at this though, man. And now I can say, all right, like Tom Brady. Tom Brady came from the 6th round, and nobody saw Tom Brady. Like, it wasn't no buzz around Tom Brady until Tom Brady proved that he was Tom Brady, because he was drafted in the 6th round. Where he come from, Michigan, you know. So it wasn't that buzz around Tom Brady like it is with Caitlin and with Jordan and Tiger. So their situation is different from Tom Brady's situation. Tom Brady, he built his, it took him time to build what he has turned into. But it's not like that with Caitlin Clark. She hit the ground running just like Tiger and Mike.
You know when Caitlin's coming out party was, man? Her sophomore year, they played Michigan. And in the last 15 minutes of the ball game, they was losing by a great deal. She went berserk. She brought them all the way back within 5. She was hitting logo shots. She was doing incredible things. It was so impactful. Sports Center put it on their top 10 plays. And that was the time when America got to see her and they fell in love. And from then on, they couldn't take our eyes off of her. So you're right about it building, but it has been building since college.
I'm just, my whole point of the situation is this. Let this young lady be this young lady. Let her build her own legacy.
She
Don't
is.
compare her to Jordan, because the last time we compared people to Jordan, it just couldn't happen. Your boy Harold Miner, baby Jordan. Nobody saw him ever again. And he was spectacular in college. You know what I'm saying?
Just be clear. Mike is not comparing her and expecting her to have the success of Jordan. He's comparing her impact. That's all Mike was doing.
Listen, I understand that, Mike, and I understand the impact that Caitlin Clark brings to the game, but to call her to call her and put her next to one of your Mount Rushmores, man, you got to come with a lot, yo.
I'll agree. I'll agree with E-Man on this. This is a very dangerous conversation if things don't work out.
Mm-hmm. And I'll give her one more caveat that's similar to Jordan: her competitive nature. Very much like it. She wired different, bro. She's wired different.
Hey, I'm all right. I'm glad I got that out, because I was like, wow, y'all comparing this young lady to Jordan. Are we setting this young lady up? That's all I wanted to see.
I'm glad you got that out too. That was fun.
Yeah. I had to get that out, man, because I like Caitlin Clark. I love Caitlin Clark, and I'm a Jordan fan. I just don't want to see nothing fail, because I've seen the comparisons of when we try to do that.
Yeah.
And it always fails. I mean, it's to the mic. I mean, LeBron is a different breed. They compared him coming out the box, and he lived up sort of. So we talking about him. But then you got a lot of other guys that had that tendency to be like, I'm just as good or I'm better, and just fizzles out.
Well, let me say this. I would think Caitlin Clark coming into, like, if Caitlin Clark was coming into the WNBA behind somebody who was already had that type of career, like we brought up Cynthia Cooper, right? Cynthia Cooper had 4 rings in the WNBA, but I don't think like what Cynthia Cooper did in the WNBA is something that it will be like impossible for Caitlin Clark to reach. Like the milestones that Cynthia Cooper has reached in the WNBA, I think it's possible. I ain't saying she go and do it. I'm just saying that she that's not something that's going to be out of reach. Now, when you talk about football, when you talk about football, like Tom Brady got he got 7 Super Bowl rings, and you got Mahomes. Like, I'm kind of hesitant, like
don't do it, Mike. Don't do it.
Early success.
Don't do it.
I'm kind of hesitant to put. And I like Mahomes, but I'm kind of hesitant to put Mahomes in that, like, oh, he's definitely going to surpass. Just like Tiger Woods couldn't catch the guy who he was chasing in golf. Who was it? Jack Nicklaus?
Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, like, because you don't know what's going to happen. But Caitlin Clark, I don't think her situation in the WNBA is like what Tiger faced or like what Mahomes is facing in their 2 prospective sports.
And you're right, because right now there's maybe a handful of people in the WNBA right now that you can say is legit playing what they need to play, like legit game breakers. And that's just because the way the sport is right now, their stars are up and coming. You know what I'm saying? They got stars in there now, but they're real stars right now. And like Clayton said, the marketing part of the WNBA is coming in. You know what I'm saying? So that's where, Caitlin Clark right now is on the ground, and she can run with it. I can see her getting 6 and 7 titles just on GP alone.
Yeah, I'm hesitant, because until I see that old guard, until I see the mentality of the WNBA commissioner, the WNBA referees, the league, until I see that mentality change, to me, it's a covert operation in place to try to dull her shine. So they don't really want her to do that.
You don't think so?
No, in all fairness to them, because they don't want, they like everybody else that think that this stuff can be manufactured. So they don't want it all to hinge on one player. So they're doing everything in their power not to make it be about one player, while the outside world keeps telling them it's about this one player. They're refusing to accept that because they don't want to be, they're trying to avoid some type of drop off if something happened to her. But you can't control these things. See, the NBA never tried to do that with Mike. They rode that wave, and what happened. Yeah, it was some drop off when he left out, but something else will come around. But the WNBA, just like women, and not all women, so let me be clear, But women love to control things. And this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to control outcomes.
Trouble.
And you can't, I said not all, but a lot of women try to control outcomes. You can't. This girl is the thing, but they don't want it to be. So if they just lean into it, I could see the titles.
Well, we had this discussion yesterday, Clayton, when I was trying to tell you about the Indiana Pacers. You know what I mean? Because like all of the excitement surrounding the Indiana Pacers, so that kind of make my case for like the success. Like if the Indiana Pacers have success, then the WNBA, they might not put too much emphasis on what the Fever do, because they're more comfortable with the Pacers having success than they will be with the Fever.
I don't understand how the WNBA. I don't understand the correlation. The Pacers having success will make up the WNBA's mind about the. I don't understand that.
Well, the number one, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA, right?
Yeah, but they don't run it. They don't run it.
Well, I ain't say they. Well, if you subsidize something, you run it.
No.
If you subsidize something,
if you can subsidize and be a solid partner.
Yeah, no. Well, if you subsidize something, then you control it, because that's a major influence.
Yeah, the one thing we don't know is I don't know is exactly how much influence the top of the NBA has on the WNBA. Yes, absolutely. We've talked about it ad nauseum about how much money they're giving the WNBA and subsidizing it. But I've got no idea how much influence they're actually exerting on WNBA operations.
Now I can't say. I just know what a reporter wrote, and according to a report, the NBA owners was convinced by the commissioner to throw money at this league, but they don't have no say in the league, and they're now pressuring the commissioner last year because of Caitlin explosion. So when are we going to get that money back? When initially it wasn't about them getting no money back. It was more so about just supporting the women and them being, a sister branch to us or whatever the case may be. But when these owners started seeing the potential, then they started pressing the commissioner, Adam Silver, when we're going to see something back. So from my understanding, if that report is accurate, I don't know, they don't really have a say in it. They just put money, they got convinced to put money in.
And let's not remember too that I think 2, maybe 3 of the WNBA franchise are privately owned now. Yeah. And one of the new franchise coming in is a privately owned franchise as well. Yeah. So they're trying to get away from underneath the NBA umbrella. But it's one of those things where it's just going to take time. But they do have some teams that are subsidized by the league, and then now they have some franchises owned by individuals now.
Yeah. And Mike, yesterday, what we were talking about was the Indiana's Pacers' success, and that putting pressure on the Fever in Indiana to have success. And I was saying it doesn't put pressure on Indiana because these fans aren't coming to Indiana Fever games to watch them necessarily win championships. Sure, they would like to enjoy them winning one, but they're coming to those games to watch this girl play. That's
absolutely. Yep.
That's absolutely it. That's the only reason they come. And Indiana Pacers, although people are falling in love with Tyrese Halliburton, they only have a crazy excitement in their fan base. Where Caitlin Clark, she's loved across the country and even different parts of the globe. Now, the Pacers aren't.
Let me tell you this, because I saw a stat about 2 weeks ago when Caitlin Clark got hurt. The next game that she played, the game when she was slated to play, the tickets were $47. When she was hurt and was out, the tickets went down to $18. Okay, so that's just a player. We're not talking about the team. We're talking about one player going down, and the ticket price is just dropped.
Yes.
So it's like Clay said, and Clay, you had a great point where I think the WNBA doesn't want to market one player, but I think it's more of the players that's putting a kibosh on that than the league. Maybe. I think the league may understand what they have in her, and want to keep duplicating that.
And
But
don't want to step
players-
on the other players' toes.
Right, but the
Yeah.
players are like, yo, I've been in this league 5,
Yeah.
10 years, and you trying to
Yeah.
tell me I don't matter? You know what I'm saying? You're trying to devalue what I've already put in. I think the players push back a lot more than maybe the WNBA does, just because the WNBA understands where their money is coming from. They understand where it's going to come from these new rookies. So there's only but so many slots in on a WNBA team. So that means when these rookies come in, because there's a lot of rookies in college that the WNBA wants, that means a lot of these old heads are going to get pushed to the back.
Yeah.
And that's where all the pushback, I think, is coming from.
I put a link in the chat last night. 20 of the 38 drafted players, rookies, are not in the league.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 20 out of 38 that didn't make it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And man, you make a great point too, because
no, I think I had that backwards. Only 20 of the 38 are in the league.
Okay.
18 didn't make it.
18 didn't make it. Yeah.
You make a great point, man, too, because the WNBA women, they put a lot of pressure last year on the commissioner, because she went on a TV show and she said some things that the players didn't agree with, and they put pressure on her. She had to come out with a different statement. Also, last year when they was talking about racial stuff and all that, they was putting pressure on her. She should have responded quicker. And those players got a lot of influence over the league. You're absolutely right when it comes to that.
Yeah, because look at when they were talking about striking over the summer. You know what I'm saying? Which is the dumbest move they could possibly do. But when you speak of stuff like that, they're trying to show their power that they will have over the NBA. I mean, the WNBA. So it's one of those things where, like we've been saying, Jim, we've been talking about it for years now. The WNBA has a cash cow right now that they need to let out. They need to get everybody else on, and so somebody's going to fall off.
Yep.
And them veterans, it's like, damn, it could be me next week. Because, like you said, if you have 20 out of what was it, 38 drafted players, and only 20 of them make it, so somebody has to fall going forward. And like, look, with these draft picks, if you draft these guys got to play. They are future. You cannot release these draft pick players. We can't have this big thing with the WNBA draft and everybody's dressing up and getting hats and shaking the commissioner's hand, and they're not even making it. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know if they're not making it because of the talent situation.
It's not that.
That's talent.
Right. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not talent because you drafted them number one.
Yep.
So how can it be talent? It's the lack of.
So that's where, like, the WNBA, like, they need competition then, because those young ladies need somewhere to go besides overseas. And you got this unrivaled league. Like I heard this morning, the young lady, what's the young lady name? The little Asian girl that played at Connecticut with she's not even playing in the W. She's playing in the unrivaled league. I forgot her name, something Chin.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's playing in the in the unrivaled league and not even interested in the WNBA. So,
right, but yeah, somebody gotta understand. Like you said, you gotta move these old players out. You know what I'm saying? Because if you drafting these guys gotta play for you. They got to, because they're your future.
Didn't the NBA do that for Michael Jordan though? Because like he caught a lot of like people was against Michael Jordan, so they changed some of the rules, like so you couldn't foul Michael Jordan the way you fouled him like early on in his career and stuff like that. So they might have to try to legislate some of that out of the league. The league changed a lot when Mike came in. You had guys that were a lot like drugs and they had a bad image. So they cleaned that up.
And they do want to promote her, man, and Mike and Jim, because they gave Indiana more national television games than anybody else. But then as soon as they did it, players started speaking out against it. Why are you doing it? You know what I'm saying? So it is. It's a thing. I think that's a valid point, that they don't want to step on them girls' toes and they don't know how to really go about it. But at some point, what's good for business, you got to, by any means, you got to do what's necessary for business at some point.
Right.
I mean, those girls who didn't make it, that's crazy. If you had 18 girls,
you're the number one draft pick for that team.
Yeah.
That means they bringing you in for a purpose, and then you get cut.
And you know what else they're trying to do? Because there's a possibility of this new CBA bringing some money, they're trying to hold on to these older stars so they can get some reward and compensation for all the years, I think, for all the years they've put in. And I honestly think that's what Stephanie White in Indiana has done by bringing over DeWanna Bonner and some of these older stars, trying to get them in a position to reap some benefit from Caitlin and the cash money that's going to come in, maybe get them a little payday. But I just think that at some point you got to lean into the youth movement and understand it's a new day, you know?
Yeah, but when do you say, would say that we can't sacrifice our future because of the past?
Exactly. That's what they need to do.
Can you imagine if Chicago would have cut Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Just because, he's there, but hey, it is what it is. That's to me, that's what the WNBA is doing right now.
Chicago cleaned up.
Right. They're sacrificing their future because they want to, respect their past.
Yeah.
But your past made you no money. You know what I'm saying? Your past made you no money.
Yeah. So, even Stephanie White said it. Some reporter asked her about the excitement and all that. Her first response was, I wonder what took so long. See, even she has that resentment because she was a player in the league.
She doesn't.
We had a great product. The product's always been good. I'm always hearing her say that. That's why I think Summer, what's going on right now with them early is her.
You hear so many women who played in the WNBA say that. So do y'all believe in some truth to that?
No, it's entitlement.
It don't matter.
What? It's entitlement.
Some truth to what, Mike?
Like that there has always been great players in the WNBA. So are their feelings legitimate?
I think there's a part of that statement that's true. Yeah. If you've watched some women's basketball in the last 30 years, there's been talented. You've seen the players. Rebecca Lobo. Just all the really good players that have won championships at the college level. They come out. It's a good product. And they're right. It's a good product. It's not the same as any other league, men's league, whatever. It's a good product. So from that point of view, there's truth to that statement. But where that statement's coming from is resentment that they weren't getting the payday because of that product. And now it seems like there is a payday coming for this young group led by Caitlin, right? There's the it factor. We've talked about it, whatever it is. There's a payday that feels like it's coming. And it's like, well, what took it so long to get here at this point? And I think it's resentment and entitlement, feeling like we should have got ours. I should have got my ends back in the day. And it's like, it comes back to what Clayton said. It's a business first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And
that statement almost sounds like they're trying to blame somebody for it, when you can't blame the league if the public is not consuming what you do. I don't care how much they market it. They can throw it down your throat, man. If you don't like the taste, you're not going to eat it.
So let me say this, because let's not forget this. In every league, in every sport, they are superstars. You know what I'm saying? There's a superstars in every league and every sport. The difference in between it, and the NFL found this out the hard way, okay? You have to be able to market it in what you do. You have to be able to make the public like and consume what you're putting out there. If you can't do that, you know what I'm saying? You have a problem. Look at the league before the NBA merged. The ABA and what was it? The ABA and the NBA or whatever like that. Yeah. Neither one of those teams were good marketing. They had stars, but they wasn't good marketers. Their league suffered. That's why they had to merge. NFL the same way. You have to be able to show the people, and like Clay, like you said, you got to make them want to eat it. If you can't make them want to eat it, you will die. You know what I'm saying?
I will say what hindered those leagues early was money. And money, it takes money to put your product in visibility. But the WNBA and some of these other, they have the visibility. The problem is you didn't have anything in that league that was captivating people. That you can't manufacture. You just have to wait for that watershed moment to come. That's all I'm saying. It's like
I
that
think they had,
watershed moment.
yeah, I think at certain points in time, the WNBA had people that would intrigue you. You know what I'm saying? I think they had
Well, if they
matchups.
did, they would have.
Well, I mean, no. Just because you do, that don't mean that don't mean, yeah. If they do, that don't mean everybody's going to consume it. Just because you have it.
I think the WNBA just got a lot of the WNBA, in my opinion, they got a lot of competition. They competing with football on one end, they competing with the NBA on the other end. You know, they just got a lot of competition.
And let's put the elephant in the room now. Let's be frank with it. Women's sports was not that popular, regardless of what it was. Mm-hmm. Okay, women's sports was just not that popular in the 90s, in the early 2000s. So let's put that where it needs to be. And men was not watching women's sports, and women was not watching women's sports. Right. You know what I'm saying? The main viewers of women's sports was the athletes that took place that played in these women's sports. Okay, so it wasn't about what they really could marketing. It just America wasn't ready for women's sports, and we didn't embrace it like we're embracing it now.
Well, but I just think something comes along that makes you want to watch. That's my main thing. So again, I'll give you an example, man. The NFL didn't take off until the Colts played the Giants in that sudden death game on TV. All it took was that one game, and America fell in love with it. And then it just went on from there. Women basketball has had championship moments, historic moments. Even back when Enrique hit the game winner, Notre Dame, you had all these moments. But for whatever reason, they didn't have something that was appealing that captured the people's imagination.
There's one example that approaches that moment, and that's when the women's national team won the World Cup.
Yeah, soccer. Yes.
Soccer.
Yes.
And they had an opportunity.
Mia Hamm. Yes.
Yes. But what was the fallout after that? There was a lot of discussions about politics, about identity, about equal pay, which those discussions were. Those discussions are always important.
Yeah.
But when you've got a sports moment, people don't want to bring those things in to the moment. Let me
ask y'all this,
and that killed the moment.
Well, let me ask y'all this: what women's sport is as big as a man's sport? Is men's sport? Or maybe tennis,
professional volleyball.
I like the tennis example, Mike.
Yeah.
But I also think track and field sometimes can rival the men.
Yes.
I think so.
100%.
No, but I know. Are we talking rival though? Are we talking like, because men's tennis surpasses women's tennis? I know we got the Williams sisters and everything, but the men's marketing ability for tennis is ridiculous. Yeah. Their money is off the meters.
Hold on. I mean the WTPA, mm-hmm. the worldwide the whatever the TPA or the worldwide TPA, whatever it is.
What's that? The Tennis Association?
Yeah. They manage both men and women.
Right.
So it's that's kind of an outlier in that the league is owned and managed by one organization.
Yeah.
Well, so I think
it's really hard for a female sport like women's sport to rival the men's sport. Like, even like you said, when we talking about tennis, you had Venus and Serena. Then you had what's the young lady name right now? Coco. I mean, you got a whole lot of different popular tennis players. But other than tennis, like, it's hard to find a female sport that rivals the men's sport.
But I think tennis does. I think tennis do, though, in my opinion.
I think tennis do, because I know more tennis players, female tennis players, than I do men's.
Yeah. You know, and you can go back to Billie Jean King and those days. Yeah. They always It was always something there.
Yeah, with the tennis, like Martina Navratilova, Anna Kournikova and all that
I
stuff.
mean, yeah,
A lot of tennis players.
every sport didn't have their stars. Every sport that has
Yeah, but I'm just comparing like the female sport to the men's sport, because we said like that's the elephant in the room. Like the women's sport naturally may not be able to compete with the men's sport.
And you know why that is though? Because men watches men's sports and women do not watch women's sports.
Yeah,
that's the key to that. Okay,
women watch men's sport too, though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's the big difference. Women will watch men's sports. Men will watch men's sports. Men will watch women's sports, but women will not watch women's sports. And that's what's been hindering those leagues. And that's what the people in the WNBA would say. They was like, we can't even get support from the women on our side. We get more support from men than we do on women, and this is our sport.
Jim made a good point. Jim made a good point as to why. Because, I mean, so many women want to, there's no patience in terms of growing your voice. Soon as they get some attention, they want to put their identity out there. They want you to acknowledge who they are. If they lesbian, they want to be proud of that. They want to push political agendas and things like that quickly. You know, I gotta be recognized for me, as opposed to be that sports person, let that grow, and then outside of the sport, if you want to involve yourself in some of these political agendas and fight, do that off the court, but see, that's what I loved about Ali a little bit. Even though he was brash and everything in the ring, that was about the showmanship. But then outside of the ring, he went and he did a lot of things in terms of that. So, some people want to be activists instead of just the sports player,
So let me ask you guys this question then. Do you think there's any sports right now that the women, now let's take away popularity in it, that the women are actually outperforming the men that you like to watch? This is opinion based. Like, to me, I like women's boxing more than I like the men boxing right now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I like to watch women boxing more than I like to watch the men boxing. Is there any sport that you guys rather prefer watching the women do than the men?
I watch women's tennis before I watch men's tennis.
Yeah.
I watch women's tennis.
I wouldn't say I watch the women's league, but I will say that I'll watch Caitlin before I watch men's basketball.
My answer is rugby, which is a foreign sport, but I like rugby because the physicality and the speed, and it's pretty simple to understand, and like I said in past conversations, I have had cousins that grew up overseas in New Zealand, and so I kind of learned the game. All that to say, when the women won the bronze in the Olympics for the rugby sevens, there was a player on there that had, again, it kind of comes down to that marketability, that it factor. Her name's Alona Mar, and she is just a fun person to follow on social media. She's got a great personality. She's fun to watch. I will watch women's rugby over men's rugby any day. Obscure sport, probably no one in the United States watches it, but that would be the thing that I watch it. And it's not because of skill level, because the men are much more physical, faster, and hit harder, but it's because of just the personalities in the women's game.
Now, how y'all feel about what you say, man?
I'm watching the College World Series, and I think the women's College World Series right now is much more exciting than what the men's is right now. I will watch a game in the women's College World Series first, because it's good. So, but go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
How y'all feel about lingerie football?
Hey, wow. I was hoping you was going to mention the Women's Flag League, but okay, you going lingerie with it. Okay.
I like the beach volleyball too, though. See, I watched the beach volleyball. What's the young lady named Christie May? Remember when they played in Olympics?
Yeah, Misty May and Carrie somebody.
Yeah.
They were a dynamic duo.
Yeah. They was but for the most part though, I think it's just for me. It's just women's tennis. I watch women's tennis before I watch men's tennis. I didn't follow Federer and all those guys, although I was aware of and knew of them. But yeah. But speaking of, let's switch over to them NBA that game yesterday, man. The Pacers and the Knicks.
Kevin Durant to the Knicks next year. They got to do whatever they can do to get. They got to do whatever they got to do to get that man, yo. Oh my God, yo.
I knew going into this game though that they was. I knew the Indiana defense was going to play like Brunson them hard and make it. But they dug them dudes all over that court. I mean, they picked Brunson up and made him play that whole
5 turnovers.
Feet. Huh?
Brunson had 5 turnovers.
Yeah, man.
3 of them was crucial.
Yeah. And but I mean, so many. You're not even counting the amount of times he had to shoot under pressure, and that's just crazy. I was telling people that when you have a go-to shot. Like ain't nothing wrong with working hard on but you don't want to work hard to take a hard shot. So, and that's the difference between those two teams.
And they got tired.
Halliburton worked hard, but then he wound up in the lane shooting that floater. You know what I mean? That shot. He hit that floater shot like three times in a row.
Indiana showed that the Knicks were one-dimensional. Okay. Yeah. They show that you put defense on Bronson and make somebody else beat you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know where Towns was at. I guess he was like home somewhere playing video games or something, you know, because I was just like, come on, guys, this is just ridiculous, man.
What?
On the road.
One thing I was
a better road team.
One thing I was impressed with more than anything was Indiana's ability to deny Jalen Brunson the basketball. See, they were denying him the ball for a lot of the game, and that was huge to me. Also, as far as Tyrese, they had so many people hitting outside shots and stuff. So when you come down the stretch, the lane is wide open. Yeah. So he's smart. And he goes in and he throws the floater, but it's not like he had to work to get that floater.
He didn't.
It's wide open. They had the floor stretch. That was great. It was, I thought they played outstanding. They played outstanding on the passing lanes and everything. So a lot of those turnovers, I give Indiana credit for making steals as opposed to the Knicks just turning the ball over.
Because they knew who to go to. They knew what the situation was. They watched those films. They knew who they was going to. That's why I'm calling Kevin Durant to the Knicks. Because the Knicks, I mean, when they get to that pressure situation, you know who's going to get the ball. You know who's going to start. You know who's going to start the play. Indiana knew it. They double teamed them. They played them tight. They played them at the top of the key. They didn't even let them get set. They played them. They went into his face at the top of the key, and that disrupted their whole offense for the Knicks. Okay, you put a guy like Kevin Durant on the Knicks next year, that may open you up a little bit more because then maybe you can't afford to play that tight defense on Bronson because you got someone like Kevin Durant that can score.
But he also can handle the ball and bring the ball up and things of this nature.
Yeah,
and he probably can get an offense in their sets too.
Yeah, Indiana showed that if we study good enough and we coach good enough, we can beat any team in the league. And that's what they did. Yeah. They figured it out.
Yep. The key that I mentioned yesterday was that the Knicks are going to have to find a way to mute Nesmith and Siakam, and in the middle of the game, who were going off? Siakam was going off. Nesmith, Nembhard, those guys were just on fire.
Listen.
And that opened it up for down to the second half and the end of the game. Halliburton was just dialing it up.
And I'm gonna tell you this: a lot of people don't understand this sometimes. But that game yesterday was a result of them winning the first two.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all it was.
Who was the kid with the plaits that jump out the gym? That he hit Josh Hart in the face.
Oh,
he held on.
Toppin, Obi Toppin.
Obi.
Somebody need to test that motherfucker for steroids. The way he get up, dog.
Yeah.
The way this guy gets off the floor, it's ridiculous, man.
Hey, Clay, you know
did he
Obi
have?
Toppin played 3 years with the Knicks.
I didn't know that.
He played 3
know
years
that.
with the Knicks. They drafted him.
No. But do you see his hops?
Yeah.
He went up to block the shot, but he had to grab the rim just to protect himself too. Man, this dude, man. I need a drug test. That's all I'm saying. I need a drug test.
I didn't know that Obi Toppin could he hit a couple threes too.
Yes.
I didn't know he could shoot like he didn't do
He
that.
was doing that all series. Yes.
Yeah, but when he was at New York, he just was
He
going to
wasn't
the
doing
rim
that.
catching alley.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know he could shoot like that.
Yeah, man. That
But
guy,
look,
man.
Now we have two teams, OKC and the Pacers, who play the same way.
Yep.
They dug you all over the court. They got a dude. Both of them have guards that get relatively easy shots without putting a whole lot of work in. So that's going to be, in my opinion, that's going to be a good series.
Hey, the last time we was on a podcast, remember we were talking about small market teams in the final. And WNBA has a great opportunity now to market these two teams. Let's get it going.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to market their finals. The question is going to be, is people going to be interested?
I hope so, because these are some good teams.
They are.
I mean that both of those series, Indiana and OKC, did the same thing to Minnesota and New York. They did the exact same thing, and they play a very similar type of ball.
They the same living team. They built it from scratch. You know what I'm saying? They kept their nucleus, and they just developed. When you got two teams in the finals that develop, and you can come into a great finals. You're coming to a great final, and I don't know what the odds are. I'm sure Oklahoma's probably got the edge right now, but I call it even because that Indiana team is the ball it can play ball.
I see a seven game series coming.
Yeah,
I think though because Tom just said it. I just think Indiana just so deep. I'm seeing dudes get time on this from this Indiana team that you didn't see all season long, man. And they came in and they had an impact.
Effective. They were very effective.
Yeah, man. I'm like, this is gonna be crazy. This is gonna be a crazy series, right? This is gonna be crazy, man.
I hope they play fast because both teams can play fast.
Oh yeah.
And I like that game.
But if you talk about two defensive teams,
I mean,
what would they look like? You know what I'm saying? What would that look like? We gonna look at low scoring games?
Maybe, but if they're playing fast and playing tough D, I'm watching.
If I'm OKC though, I think if you play fast up tempo, I think the advantage goes to the Pacers. Although both teams can run, I think the advantage go to the Pacers. You know what I mean? But man, both of them can run. Both of them play great half court. Both of them play defense. Both of them got a guard that can get an easy shot in clutch moments. That's gonna be, man. This gonna be, man.
And if you give Indiana the depth edge, that fast pace favors them.
Yeah. But you know what the saddest part about watching that game yesterday was? For me, was the last viewing of the TNT crew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was the saddest disappointment because I would think they would have the finals too, but they don't.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah, that's gonna be on ABC, right?
Yeah, I think it's ESPN and ABC. Yeah,
but it's not gonna be It's not gonna be chucking them.
No, chucking them is done. Yep, that was their last thing yesterday.
Yeah. All right. So what Tom says, I keep telling people stop listening to Stephen A. Snitch. He has an agenda just like everybody on ESPN. Yeah, we don't even pay Stephen A. Smith no attention. Because if you listen to him, like Indiana ain't standing a chance. You know what I mean? Like he was calling for, well, I guess he a Knicks fan anyway, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but let's be honest. Game one in New York, We didn't predict that it was going to go that way.
Well, wait a minute. I said big guards will give Brunson that's a big problem for Brunson.
Listen. The betting factors was New York was going to win. New York was a hot team going there, and they just beat the Celtics, and they was going to win it.
In fairness to Stephen A. going into this series, he was afraid of Indiana. He thought Indiana, that was going to be hard for New York to be. In fairness to him, I'm not an apologist for him. Even that last game, he didn't give New York a chance to win that.
If we're going to compare ESPN's crew to TNT's crew, it's like the difference between shooting a bullet and throwing it. I'll just say that.
That's why you got to bring Jordan in.
Yeah.
That's why you got to do stuff like that. You got to bring that TNT crew was loved. Like I sometimes I wouldn't even watch the game. I'll just watch the conversation before and after the game to figure out exactly what was going on.
Yeah. So what Tom said, Indiana is not a small market team. Indiana has one of the best fan bases in the NBA. It lets you know that those NBA reporters from ESPN was lying about the Fever fan base and as jealous as sin.
Jealousy is a sin. Well, he might have a point because of the Indianapolis 500 and some of these other things. Maybe they're not as small as we think.
No, but you know what? When they say a city has a small fan base, what they're talking about is the viewership. They're talking about how many stations and everything is. The marketing part of people watching. It's not necessarily selling out the stadium. I mean, selling out the fans. I mean, selling out the arenas or nothing like that. It's more about viewership because you got to remember what's around them and all that other stuff. Like OKC is a small market. Indiana is a small market. It's not New York. It's not LA. It's not Miami. It's not DC. You know what I'm saying? It's just because of the television. They consider small market because of the television viewership.
I think Tom addressing that to me, Mike.
What?
Read that statement.
It says, OG, you had no problem watching Detroit Pistons and Chicago Bulls when they had Michael Jordan on there, and the score was 80-something to 80-something.
Let me be clear, Tom. I don't have no problem with this. I said, what are we going to get? But in referencing that, the reason I ain't have no problem watching it, because within those 80 points, Mike was doing shit that was spectacular. Yeah. He was doing shit to capture my mind, and he was probably hitting half of those points, and I was a Michael Jordan fan. That's why I have no problem with it. Yes.
Yeah, all right. If I'm Rick Carlisle, I would like SGA score 80 points on but put the others on the team. What do you say? But the others on the team is going to have to show me something. Yeah, this gonna be a tough series for OKC. I mean, it's just for both teams. It's just another challenge.
Yeah, but you got to remember, this is the NBA Finals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to be tough for both teams.
Yes.
Both teams are supposed to play at the highest level, that they can play at. So I would say this: both teams are going to use all 12 players on their teams this year. They have to. Indiana is built to use 12 players. OKC is built to use 12 players.
Yeah,
they're going to have to do that.
Deep.
Yeah, they're going to have to go deep to win this series.
I'm gonna ask Time this: if it goes 7 games, Oklahoma City has the home field advantage.
Right.
I'm interested to hear what you guys and what Time thinks is going to happen in Game 7.
If it goes 7 back to Oklahoma, I like OKC. I like OKC at home.
If it goes 7, I can see the NBA cashing in, ching ching, because they get a great series is what the NBA is looking for. So to me, because I'm not I don't like either one of the teams, but I like the basketball percentage of it. Yeah. So I would watch it just because of that. You know what I'm saying? So they will have people tuning in that may not like even one of the teams like myself, but they're watching it because it's going to be a great Game 7.
Yeah.
So you can't lose. The only people that can lose as if you're an OKC fan and they lose, or you're an Indiana fan and they lose. Everybody else wins.
Right? Yeah. You right, man. If you're a basketball fan, you won already.
Yeah, you won.
Yeah.
Basketball fans already won.
And like I said, I'm just curious to see if the rest of the country is as excited as as Oklahoma City and Indiana is. I'm still curious to see that. I want to see what the ratings be.
Right. And that's what I was talking about. How does the NBA take effect of the ratings that's going to go with these teams? Because you don't have LeBron. This is the first time in a long time you don't have LeBron. You don't have Steph Curry. You don't have Kevin Durant. You don't have that big marketable name that everybody recognizes as soon as you say it.
Yep.
So how does
this is the first time that in a long time coming out of the West that you don't have a Texas or a California team in the finals.
Yep.
And I think there's an opportunity there because there can be some fatigue of seeing the same teams. But
just like a couple years ago when everybody was excited when Miami went out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they were sick of always seeing the Celtics go. They were sick looking at the Bucks. So you have Miami sneaking in. Everybody like, oh, cool. Of course they got beat, but you're like, oh, great. The Celtics are in there.
Yeah.
The Dallas Mavericks are there. So a change of pace is great for the NBA as long as they can do it.
And they've got the right players to market. They got the MVP, and they've got going back to the it factor, whatever that personality of Tyrese is infectious.
He got it.
And because he's got that smile and that, he's very demonstrative, and let me
say this too, because even on both teams, there's multiple amounts of players that can beat you on both teams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't say, SGA. You can't say SGA and OKC plays Indiana. It has to be OKC versus Indiana. There's no David Ruffin out front of everybody, of each of the teams. Both teams are great teams as a team. You know what I'm saying? So it's a marketing challenge for the NBA. It is a marketing challenge. Don't get it twisted. It will be a marketing challenge for them.
I will say if Indiana can go in Madison Square Garden on that big stage and steal the first game, I think they might can go in OKC and get a game too. Now whether they can get a game 7.
They stole 2 games.
Right. They stole the first 2, right. But I'm saying in terms of them getting a game 7, not so sure. But I certainly believe they can go in OKC and win.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Indiana's never won a championship, correct?
Nope.
And
I don't believe so.
And OKC has only won one with when they was Seattle. But
something like that. Yeah. But not at OKC, yes.
Right. So Indiana's first could be their first championship. So there may be a lot more to play for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What Tom said, I really have Indiana if it goes 7 games. Let me see, because all the pressure will be on Oklahoma City and their superstar SGA. Indiana is built to win on the road. I think both of these teams, like I said earlier, I think they built the same. I think both of them built the same. But to go and win 2 in New York is impressive. What Indiana did. What Indiana did. That's impressive to win 2 in New York. But both of these teams, they pretty much built the same. That's what it is. That's why this is going to be a good series.
Yep. Yeah. Basketball fans should love this series. Basketball fans.
And that's what I'm saying. To me, this is really good basketball. Only thing I think that's missing from this, in my opinion, is that power forward position. But you got every other position is represented besides that power forward position. So that would have made the game. What you say, man?
What's the format of the playoffs? Is it still 2-2, 1-1-1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that would make this game more a little bit more physical. I don't think it need to be more physical. I thought the refs let them play yesterday, you know what I mean, against New York. They was knocking Jalen Brunson all over the place, so they let them play yesterday. And I think they're gonna let them play against OKC. I think this gonna be a good series right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna be the closest thing to 90s basketball that I've seen in a while since Kobe left the league. I haven't seen nothing like this since Kobe left the league.
Well, you putting it up there.
Yeah. I mean,
set the
that
bar
style
high.
of basketball where you utilize that whole court, that offense. I mean, it's an art to running a half court offense, and that's why what's the guy named Anthony Edwards is not in it because their half court offense fell short.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said yesterday, because they don't have a point guard. These last two teams left have two outstanding point guards.
Yeah.
You give Anthony Edwards a point guard, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, even if you had a point guard, you still got to be you still have to be able to shoot that mid range.
He does. I don't know why you think he don't have no mid range.
He didn't use it. All right,
because
I don't know.
Playing point guard.
I'm going by what I saw. I saw.
But he's out of position.
He didn't shoot that. He didn't use that mid range game.
That's fine. The way they played that team, the defense, how they put them, that's fine. He didn't shoot a lot of mid range, but he has one. He has everything in his bag. The guy was playing point guard, so he's out of position. And the way they played defense on them didn't lend itself for him to get into that space and shoot mid-range games. But Anthony Edwards has everything in his bag. Everything. He's not a point guard.
All right, this the thing. All right, say like if Anthony Edwards was their point guard, they still didn't utilize that part of the court was open for them. So if Anthony Edwards, all you had to do if you double team Anthony Edwards, somebody just flashed through the free throw line. OKC is doing it. They doing it without Shea, and they do it without Halliburton. Other people flash that mid range.
Here's the question: looking at Minnesota's players and talent, which one of those players on that team outside of Anthony Edwards has an effective mid-range? You don't know. How do you know what I'm saying? You're making a statement, but maybe they're not capable, Mike.
If anybody could flash to the mid-range, Clayton, and turn around and you
that's
got
not
Holmgren.
True. That's not
Holmgren
true.
is flashing to the free throw line.
Because he's capable.
Around and shoot that mid-range.
Because he's capable.
But let me ask you a question. Do you think they were better last year with Karl Anthony Towns with Cat on the team?
It's not about Karl Anthony Towns. It's about a point guard. He was better. Ant-Man showed more in the postseason because there was a point guard there. That's all I'm trying to say.
What, last year or this year?
Last year, he had a point guard. This year, they don't. They put him at point. He's not a point guard. So that's going to throw his game off to some degree. I thought he did exceptionally well playing out of position all year.
The game that Halliburton played yesterday, we said before they went to that game that New York was going to take something away from him. They was going to make it hard for him to get to the game, to get to the ball. Once he passed that ball, they denied him. So everybody else was taking advantage of the open areas in that court.
Yes.
He was not forcing nothing. So why could not? That's what I'm saying. Anthony Edwards just lived and died with that three, Clayton.
Bro. Because his other players wasn't taking advantage of that space on the floor like Indiana players were. Yes. So he was forced to. He put more on himself to force the action.
100%. It's not on Ant that those losses.
If you the man, you the man. You the man.
That half court offense was dog crap.
What is the new name? What is it? Rudy Gobert is the other guy that's on that team. He never showed up.
Yeah, well, Rudy's
a role player.
He basically defense.
Yeah, Rudy's a role player.
Right, like offense and anything, not really.
It was that they had to have Julius Randle, Naz Reid, and McDaniels picking up the slack, and the offense didn't allow any good movement. Everything was off the dribble for Ant-Man to try to penetrate. That was a mistake. and his only other option was a 3, and no one else was moving well without the ball. There was no off-ball screening. There wasn't any good. I mean, yeah. If and the only
Ant-Man didn't we spoke about how Ant-Man went and sat in the corner and waited for the ball. They was showing him sitting in the corner waiting for the ball.
It was a garbage offense.
What you laughing? But what's stopping Ant-Man from cutting to the ball?
Oh my goodness!
What was stopping Ant-Man from cutting to the ball? If you're not going to cut to the ball, you may as well not even show up.
What was stopping him from cutting to the ball because he had the ball in his hand playing point guard.
No, I'm talking about when he was off ball and he wouldn't stood in the
How often,
corner.
Mike? How often was that in the game?
I watched it.
But how often was it?
I watched it.
So you saying the majority of the possessions? You saying the majority of the possessions? Ant-Man didn't have the ball in his hand and he was free to cut to the basket and all that. Who was handling the basketball?
You don't go stand in the corner. No, that offense ain't had no movement. And the free throw line was wide open for how many other games they played. The free throw line was wide open. I just stood in the corner.
I can't dispute what you saw, bro.
I don't blame Ant for that half court offense.
For standing in the corner?
That the whole half court offense was garbage.
It was, and he the man.
So I mean,
he is the team leader, and you standing in the corner.
And Finch is the coach. Fincher did not give them anything to work with. If Finch is gone next year, I'll goodbye, Finchy. Nice knowing you.
Let me ask y'all this then. Do you think that Kobe would have went and stood in the corner and just waited for the ball to come to him? Or have allowed anybody to deny him a scoring opportunity?
Now I'm going to turn into E-Man. You're comparing Ant to Kobe?
No, I'm talking about dudes who want to be champions and dudes who want to win. I'm talking about people who want to win. I don't doubt Ant's desire to win one. All right, hold up. Let me read this. Time said, I understand what you're saying. Let me see. What Anthony Edwards is playing is hero ball, not basketball. Michael Jordan was a great because Scottie Pippen was his point forward and made it easy for Mike to get to the ball. I understand that's true too, right?
What did Michael do when they moved him to point guard? He ran off triple doubles, but his scoring came down. He was different.
And he facilitated. Mike facilitated.
Yes, he was different. Yes, he was facilitated. But they also had the players around him was executing and contributing, so it worked. Ant-Man, for the life of me, he is not a point guard. That's what it is. He's not a point guard,
if you're the coach, you don't put Ant-Man at point guard. If he's not a point guard,
that's what he did. But that's what he did.
What he did.
Yeah. And it's more to, and like the guy said, Ant-Man playing hero ball. Either he gonna get a dunk or he gonna shoot a 3-pointer. And if he don't bring that other facet of the game, then they not gonna go nowhere. I don't care if you have a point guard.
I've seen a lot of games where Minnesota won and Ant-Man didn't do anything but defer and distribute. He was forced to take shots because at his point and his ability, he's the one that can get a one-on-one look. He's the one that can force the action out of everybody else on the floor. So, yeah, you want to dump on him, blame him, whatever. But I understand. The kid has incredible ability. His team let him down. His coach let him down. And now he's in a position because he wants to win so bad, he starts forcing the action.
So let me ask you a question then. Going forward, what does Minnesota need to do? Does Anthony need to consider leaving?
No.
Or, let me just find I'm just
Go ahead.
Or does, the Minnesota decide to change coaching staff and bring in better players? Because truthfully, to call Anthony Towns trade to me was, now they look back at it, was foolish. Okay, you can't consider that. I mean, I think it was foolish.
You had equal results. But go ahead, Jim. You that's your team. You talk about.
I think what this has shown me and you kind of alluded to it a little bit yesterday, Clayton. They're right at the precipice, and they're ready to make that next step.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been missing a couple of pieces,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like I said, maybe another piece will figure it out and work with that offense. But I don't like that offense. And so if they, I would be, to your point, E-Man, I'd be okay with them changing coaching staff and getting them a couple of pieces, and maybe it is a really good point guard, a veteran point guard that allows Ant to be himself.
Yes.
Right. And I think they're right there. It's not a let's scrap this and start over. Let's deal Ant-Man and start over. They're right at the edge, and they're almost there. But
so do you think they were better this year than they were last year, though?
I started off the season saying no. At the end of the season, the kind of ball that they were playing, I think it was a win-win.
Mm-hmm. And the guy that put that team together, see, he didn't have to worry as much about a point guard because he had Jokic in Denver. And Jokic is such a great facilitator. He facilitates out of the post, where when he goes to Minnesota, he don't have that. So he has to get a facilitator, somebody that gets them in and out of sets.
Let me ask y'all this.
Look at Tom. Look at what Tom you put up there. You got Trae Young. What about your boy John Morant? You know,
they're not true facilitators, in my opinion. But go ahead.
Let me ask y'all this then. So if Minnesota gets a facilitator and Ant-Man played the way he played this year, y'all think he gets over the hump?
No.
Well, I think he's not going to play like he played this year. I think he's going to play.
Wait a minute. Let me.
I think he's going to play on another level.
Ant-Man said himself. They said when people say that you shoot too many threes, what do you tell the people that say you shoot too many threes? He said F them, right?
Yeah.
So he continued to shoot the threes, and the three is what shot him out of that series. So if you got a point guard that's running your offense and your point guard is, what's the use of having a point guard if you're going to shoot threes?
Well, you're assuming that he's going to shoot threes. He didn't say F him because he's like, fuck y'all, I'm going to keep shooting a three. He said F him because I'm not consumed with somebody else's opinion about the game where they don't play. And I like that attitude. He's not getting caught up in people's opinions about him. That's why I believe he said F him. Now, I think if you get a point guard, I think his shot selection will become a lot more efficient. That's my opinion.
I do too. I don't think Ant took all those threes because it's like, F them, I'm going to do all the threes. It was the offense, and that was the last opportunity they had to score because time.
That'd be a good one.
How many times did that shot clock start running low for Minnesota? And it's like, well, damn it, let's just chuck it up because we can't figure nothing else out because our half-court offense sucks.
Listen, I think Minnesota.
What you say, man?
I'm going to say I think Minnesota is on the cusp of just losing it all. I think that window was already here, and it's close. I mean, the West is doing nothing but getting better and better. Okay, you trade away your big man that can score, so you trade away points. Okay, now you lose into a younger team, and they ran them out the building. They ran them out that conference finals, ran them out of there. Okay, now you're getting all these excuses of why you ran out of there. But yet, the package that you put together was the package you was playing with all year. You know what I'm saying? So, to me, Minnesota had that window. The last 3 years was Minnesota window. Now, to me, I just think that they got to figure it out. You keep your core. You keep your core like Rudy Gobert. Trade him. You know what I'm saying?
But man, when you look at the core in Minnesota, and you look at the core of all the other teams that's up and coming, Minnesota's core is not, in my opinion, don't really measure up to what you got in Indiana, the core that you have in OKC. You know what I mean?
Or Houston, because I think in Minnesota, it's a lot of these teams coming up right now that has their nucleus. Detroit, right? And that's what I think. Like I said, Minnesota had their window. Last year, this year, and the year before that, that was Minnesota's window. You didn't know what was first, especially the first year. You didn't know what Minnesota was bringing. They surprised a lot of people.
Hey, but man, I'm not ready to throw dirt on on Anthony Edwards, right? And so I agree with Tom. But Tom said, I believe that the Celtics are trying to get rid of Holiday. He will be a perfect fit,
Yes.
and I do believe that Holiday will definitely be able to help the dude Anthony Edwards in Minnesota. I like that fit right there.
Yeah, but the problem is, what does Minnesota have to do to get Holiday?
Not a lot, not right now, because you know, I don't think it's going to take much for Minnesota.
And I think it's going to come down to like the same way with Dallas right now, because you know, Kyrie has that injury that's going to take him through all of next year. You know what I'm saying? Now, if your boy has the same injury in Boston that's going to take him all the way through, then yeah, you definitely want to look at that Holiday trade. You know what I'm saying? So you want to, I guess you got to just figure out who's going to do what with them. But Holiday would be a great fit.
Yeah, if I'm Holiday, I would be very interested in going to Minnesota.
Play with Ant, yeah.
But yeah, Ant-Man gonna have to work on his mid-range game, man. Cause you got Halliburton and you got that boy.
You must haven't watched Anthony Edwards play. You really have.
I watched him.
You watched this one playoff series. Anthony Edwards got everything. I don't know what you watching, bro.
He didn't. Hold on. Who's better, Mike, LeBron or Anthony?
LeBron better ball player than Anthony Edwards.
He really hates Anthony.
I don't know.
He really hates him.
I saw Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards right now at this point LeBron's career. Anthony Edwards is better than him.
Yeah.
It ain't too many people in the league better than Anthony Edwards.
At this point now, yeah, Anthony Edwards is a better player. Yeah, but in their primes though, it was LeBron.
And it ain't too many players in the league better than Anthony Edwards.
Well,
I don't even know if it's any.
I don't know about being. It don't matter. They playing now. They done moved on. Everybody done moved on.
The teams have. The teams have. But Anthony Edwards, as an individual talent, ain't nobody in the league better than this boy. Just because his team wasn't as good as the other team does not mean he's not a better player than everybody in the league.
I'm not even going to get into debate like who the best, but I would tell you this, though. I would take SGA before I took Anthony Edwards.
Well, it depends on how you building your team. You build your team. You would start your team. You would start your team with a point guard. That's smart.
Why you just say he ain't nobody better than Clayton?
Because they're not better than Anthony Edwards. But Anthony Edwards is not a point guard. So if I'm gonna start, it was just like back when Magic was a point guard, Michael. If I'm starting a team, a lot of franchises would start with Magic because he's the point guard. He's the captain out there. He wasn't better than Michael, but I want to start because he's the best point guard in basketball.
But some people, you start a team, you take the best player available.
Not necessarily, not in basketball.
That's what I'm saying. But
you want to solidify
some
your
people have a different philosophy of it. Like me, I wouldn't take a point guard. I'll take the best player available.
Okay.
So if Michael Jordan is in my draft, I'm not taking John Stockton before I take Michael Jordan. I'm taking Michael Jordan.
Okay.
I'm taking Kobe before I take Stockton.
Okay.
But we all know Stockton's the best point guard pretty much ever.
Houston took Elijah Wan. And Mike was clearly the best player in that draft, but Houston took Elijah Wan because that's one of the most important positions you want to solidify on the floor.
Who's the number 2 pick? What was his name?
Sam Bowie. Yeah, another center.
But you know the reason why? Oh shit! No.
The reason why is same reason why in the NFL they take a quarterback first. You get certain positions on the court you want to solidify. You want to solidify that position.
Well, all I know is I would take SGA and Halliburton over the dude that's going to settle for threes and want to play hero ball.
I think you're pouring way too much of the offense on Anthony Edwards' head. It's I don't. I mean, you pluck him out and put him in a completely different offense. I don't think you see any of that with what you're complaining about.
Nah.
Sorry, gentlemen. More power.
It's all good as long as you're back.
Yeah, my tablet just completely died.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys know who I'm taking first. I don't even have to say it.
Who you taking first?
Anthony.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I take SGA, man, over Anthony Edwards. Because
it depends on what my team look like.
I'll take Steph.
It depends on what my team look like.
Right now, if you was to ask me to draft a current NBA player on my team first, I think I would draft Steph Curry. He gives me the point guard.
He's only got a couple years left.
Hey, he gives me a point guard and gives me a shooter. I get two for the price of one.
Well, I'm starting my franchise with Cooper Flag now.
Hey, we laughing, but it's some franchises that may be like, look, let's just start all over again.
They do everything. Yes.
Yeah. And let's tell
this draft.
Hey, there's a couple teams I have in mind: Milwaukee, Philly. Trade what you could trade to get this guy, and let's start all over again. Hey, I would even say the Clippers too. I hate what the Clippers are doing, but the Clippers too. Whatever you got to trade on the Clippers to get this guy, you do it.
I think the Spurs probably gonna wind up with him though.
No, the Spurs don't have the number one pick.
Yeah.
Who got the number one pick? The
Dallas. Spurs landed number 2. See, I didn't even take that in consideration when they got rid of Luka. That made all the sense in the world. They got that pick. They had to replace that star.
They had one ball. They had one ball.
Yep, they had one ball.
Like a 1.3% chance of getting that, and they got it.
And they got it.
And that's why everybody's saying the NBA is rigged. Yeah. Because the Spurs had like 9 balls, and they had one, and they got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up.
Can't.
So if you ever needed to redeem a franchise by bringing in a great player, a player, you did it by getting the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what y'all think about this? Tom say I'm taking the world in the All-Star game if it ever happens, because ain't nobody beating the play of Joker, Giannis, SGA, Wemby, let me see, Luka.
Yeah.
And you can pick whatever Americans you want.
I mean, that's a tough lineup. That's a tough lineup. That's a tough lineup. That's a murderer's row.
Yeah, that's
on the other side of that, Steph is available, KD available, Ant-Man available. You got a lot of players available on the other side of that now.
See, the problem with that is I think it's unfair because it's the world. You're talking a larger pool that is going against America if you do that. Now, if you were doing individuals, countries, and let them do a play-in game, and then the winner does play America for it, that'd be a little different.
Yeah, like the 4-team tournament in NHL, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Man, you got
when you go to the world against the NBA.
But look at that lineup. Ain't no defense on there though. Ain't no. Let me see who played defense on there. Joker don't play. Giannis played defense.
I would take Jaylen Brown. I would take, if Tatum was healthy, I'd take Ant-Man, I'd take KD, I'd take Steph, I'd take LeBron, I'd take all these guys. Look at the Olympic team.
Don't forget Booker. Don't forget Booker.
Yeah, I forgot about Booker.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe. Devin Booker, yeah.
Oh, you killing me, man. You killing me.
What?
Booker was maybe. He let me down lately. I don't know.
Yeah, let me see. You could have all of them OG. The world is coming to play. They play a different style of basketball than the American, the American dudes. I think the only reason why the game has changed is so they can facilitate some of these world ball players, because of the style of basketball is different in the NBA than it was back in the back in the day.
I'll say this: if they did that, it'd give me a reason to watch the damn game.
Yeah, All-Star Weekend wouldn't be so boring.
Maybe now that you got people, playing a different style, maybe this will usher in a new generation if you got guys playing a different style of basketball.
Well, it's already there, Mike. That Euro step didn't come from America now.
That Euro step, man, that bullshit ass move.
Yeah, that didn't come from us now. Come
that
on
Euro
now.
step bullshit. That's
Do you guys see any women doing a Euro step? Do you guys see any women doing them?
No, I don't see no women.
I don't think I see no women doing no Euro.
Is it legal in the W?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I don't remember.
I don't see it. But yeah,
all I remember is Angel Reese taking all her steps, but they calling it though now. So, but Angel Reese ain't moving. She ain't moving towards the basket. She just moving around under the basket when she take her steps.
Hey, she put a great post up move on the other night against Dijonay. That was legit. She hooked her with the wing and everything. That was nice.
Yeah. She almost broke through that girl ribs too.
Yeah, that was nice stuff.
We're gonna call that the AR step.
Yeah. But see, the thing about that though, all right, that was only one move. Why Angel Reese had to celebrate though? That's the kind of thing I was like, man, just go ahead and it was one move. It was 2 points.
Yeah.
Nice move. Just move.
Nice move, y'all, but just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Listen, I think it's just this generation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even like with the Reggie Miller choke move that Indiana did in game, what was it, 2 or 1?
Yeah,
right. I mean, come on now. You celebrating. First of all, you don't even know if you had to win now. You think you got the win, but you ain't certain. And then you don't have the win when you do it.
When he did it, he didn't know his foot was on the line yet. Yeah. That's why I think.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But why do that in game 1? You know what I'm saying?
I loved it though.
I thought it was cool too.
Yeah,
and I really like celebrations, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you can celebrate and back it up, then I don't have no problem with it.
And not only did he do it, he did it and pointed at Reggie Miller. Yeah. That made it even more dope, man. Come on, man.
If he would have,
that was Reggie Miller thing, huh?
Yeah. If he did something else, right, that was as demonstrable or over the top, that was something else. But the fact that he did the Reggie thing, I thought that was cool.
Well, look, when Reggie Miller did it though, that was demonstrative and over the top. You know what I mean? Like when
it was
your
controversial.
hand around your neck like that,
it was controversial.
But when Reggie Miller did it, they beat the Knicks in that game.
Yeah.
To go to the finals.
Yeah.
So
I like they won that game though, man.
I like
they just didn't win it on that shot.
But it was game 1. What I like about it in hindsight was the fact that he had the nuts, he had the balls to do it in game 1. And if they lost that series, he would have never lived it down.
I be talking mad stuff about him if he'd have lost.
Yeah, exactly. And to have the guts to do it, and like Clayton said, finish the job. That's just going to make the legend grow.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, if they'd have lost that game, because remember, they played it when he did it, they went to OT. So if he'd have lost that game,
he had to come through in the OT.
Yes.
He knew his bacon was on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard not to. I like that kid, though. I really do. I like him, man.
I like his game. I like his game. Yeah, I like his game.
Hey, it's getting kind of late, fellas. Can we talk a little football before we go?
Yeah.
As long as it's not, as long as it's
I got that quarterback. I got that quarterback controversy that's going on in Cleveland right now.
I was hoping you go there. There.
Let me say this for the old guy Joe Flacco. He putting up that work, man. They've been talking about Joe Flacco and what he's doing in that training camp right now, man.
Yeah. So this what I think gonna happen. I think they're gonna start Joe, and then they're gonna have Shedeur backing him up. Do you think that's what's gonna happen?
Yeah, because they said the other guy that they brought in is not really. I know it's early in training camp, but yeah, he said he's not really being effective in training camp right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. That Shedeur is going to back up Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
but I want to say this about the Shedeur Sanders situation, though. I don't even think that Shedeur Sanders falling to the 5th round. I don't think that situation was. I thought it was. is just about money, and it's about like leveraging his celebrity and stuff like that. I think that the NBA, the NFL, those major league sports do not like competition when it comes to people being able to leverage their celebrity and those major leagues not get a big piece of that. So and I say that because whenever you see somebody coming to the league who have like their own brand or something like that, like things like this always happen. Like with the Ball Boys, their brand fell apart. You know, who else? The NBA just tried to like what they try to do with like the big three, you know, as far as like cutting into like their sponsorships and the way they promote their league. And I think Unrivaled is going to run into some issues too when it comes to competing with the WNBA. And so that remains to be seen though. So, but that's just my take on it. I don't think it was about the money. I mean,
See, but it's the guys. I like Shador just like the rest of you guys. I mean, right, the rest of you guys do. But let's put the horse before the cart. Shador hasn't won anything in college.
No, you're
he
right.
Did not win anything. It ain't like he threw for 4,000 yards. Okay? Shador was an average quarterback playing on an average team. We're talking about him like he made history in college.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
He didn't. He wasn't even the top 20 quarterbacks in yardage. Let's be honest, the real reason we was talking about Shador is because he's on that Sanders brand. Mm-hmm. If he wasn't on that Sanders brand, I don't think we would be talking about why Shador got picked in the 5th round and not in the 1st round.
Mm-hmm. But then his first year in Colorado, he go over 4,000 yards. The first year. Mm-hmm. I think he did.
Shador, I don't think he passed over 3,000 yards any of his career.
I think his first year in Colorado he did.
I just gotta look it up. I don't have my laptop, so I can't look it up. But okay. But anyway, I mean, he's still. They didn't beat anybody.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan. I was just making that point.
Yeah. I think he can play though. I think he can play, and I think that. I was surprised he fell to 5th. So, all right. So, man, you saying that if you don't, and a lot of people saying that if you don't go number 1, then basically teams wait till the later drafts to pick up a quarterback. Like if you're not in that top tier of quarterbacks.
Yes, absolutely. Because I'm going to tell you this, the top tier quarterbacks, the reason they're in the top tier, because everybody in scouts believe that they're pro ready now because they're beating their competition badly. Okay, they're pro ready. Like the dude from Miami, he played his competition. He didn't win all his competition, but he played his competition. So now they figure, okay, he's pro ready. That's why he's number 1. Okay, Shador is not a bad quarterback. Shador is I think he's a good quarterback. The problem is he hasn't played the level of competition at his level. So if he was playing a lot of those the SC teams and the Big Ten teams, and if he was playing them, not winning, but playing them and show progress and playing them, then you can evaluate that. But it's hard to evaluate a individual player that hasn't played the top level of competition where they are. Okay, and that's what I think Shador where he falls into the reign of. He could be same thing with Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't play a lot of college ball because where he was at, he was at Michigan, but he just didn't get a lot of playing time. That's why he went number 6. So after that point, once he got to the league, he had to prove himself who he was. Yeah. Shador's going to have to do the same thing.
Yep.
Where did that boy Cam Ward go? Who had the number 1 pick?
Jesus.
Was it who was it? Who picked him up?
Hold on.
Who picked him up?
Let me look it up.
It wasn't Tennessee. He went second, no. Didn't Travis Hunter go first or second?
Miami.
Miami.
No.
That's where he played college. Tennessee got him. Yeah,
that's right.
I'm not even sure if any of the quarterbacks in this draft is pro ready. And to be honest with you, I think the boy in the Giants picked up, I think he's going to have the best year out of all the rookie quarterbacks. Yep.
Yeah.
Because he big, he's strong, you know, got big arm. In New York, you know, he gonna play.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm a fan of these quarterbacks, rookie season, sitting behind, do the Pat Mahomes thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sit behind that. That's why I'm hopeful JJ McCarthy learned something from that from sitting a year.
Right. Because I mean, if you really look at it, look at the quarterbacks that had success their very first year, and look at them now. Like the guy at the Jaguars, you know what I'm saying? His first year was tremendous, and then he's just been sliding downhill ever since.
Yeah.
Because once they get film on you, them NFL players, they get paid to stop you. You know what I'm saying? Them coaches get paid to put a game plan together to stop you. And if you're not seasoned enough to be able to handle that, you know, your career goes downhill. Prime example, the guy at Indianapolis.
Yeah, but I don't think he was raw talent.
Yeah.
I think he was just raw talent. I don't think he really had the pocket presence and everything else. He was just a physical specimen, and Indianapolis went all in on it. But I'm gonna say with Trevor Lawrence, that first year he came in, or that next year when he had some success, they had a great running game. To me, they've abandoned the running game down there, wanting him to just chuck the ball all the time. He's a great quarterback. He needs balance. He needs a running game to go along with him. You know?
And that's where we come to, you know, the team managing the players. You know what I'm saying? Shador could be a great quarterback if you put the pieces around him that will make him great. You know what I'm saying? Or you could put no pieces around him and he's running for his life all the time. Yeah. And then you won't hear for Shador the next 5 years. So that's where you go, you ask yourself, am I going to the right franchise that's going to allow me to be great?
That's why Deion didn't want him to go to Cleveland in the first place.
It's going to be hard for him to get on that field. Joe going to have to get hurt because Joe got a history with Cleveland, and he's got a relationship with those receivers, the tight end, the head coach, you know, the system, and he took him to the playoffs. It's going to be hard for Shador to get on that field. Flacco going to have to get hurt, or he just going to have to be miserable.
But see, the key to it is, if I'm him, I don't want to get on the field until I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Put me in the field game one, and then all this pressure is on me to win. Because, you know, as soon as they put him on the field, you know the first thing they're going to say, he needs to win. Nobody's going to give him that opportunity to grow because of all the publicity and stuff that's around him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tom said he's going to start in he's going to start week 3.
Week 3.
I think the longer they hold off on starting him, though, I think the better for him, though.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, if I'm Cleveland, I'm saying, Shador, you're our future. So I don't expect to play this year, not unless we have to play you. Let's put some more pieces around you. Let's get another draft in there. Let's go out there and see what the free agent market looks like so we can get you some better wide receivers, maybe a better running back. And let's play from there because they don't even have that running back. Chubbs is at Cleveland anymore?
I don't think so.
Hey, let me ask y'all this. So where is Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun, and the dude Kenny Pickett? Where those guys at then? They still on the team.
Yeah, they still ain't made no cuts or nothing. Yeah.
They literally got 3 quarterbacks in camp right now, and they got 2 quarterbacks out on injury.
Yeah, Pickens, but Joe in camp though right now, ain't he?
Yeah, they got 3. They got 3 in camp right now, and they got 2 on injury.
Oh, okay.
So which tells you that Watson is going to be gone when he gets back.
Yeah.
They're going to find a way to move that contract.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's going to be an NFL team out there desperate enough to take that contract. Just like Cleveland was desperate enough to take it from
But where? Well, what team do you see? I don't see nobody.
Yeah, he definitely can't come to Baltimore because of what the punter in Baltimore did. We already got.
Bro, you got
no, somebody's going to bet. Somebody's going to bet on his talent. I mean,
so where do you think?
Let's look at a team. Let's look at a team like the Dolphins. Tua is one hit away from being gone.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? And if Deshaun Watson is half of Deshaun Watson that he was, he fits in that Miami offense.
What about
I think Cleveland gonna have to wait to scrap the contract and then.
Well, they can't. They can't scrap.
I don't know.
Deshaun is all guaranteed. They can't scrap anything.
That's
Don't
They just gotta
underestimate
hope.
it.
Yeah, they gotta
Don't
just hope
underestimate.
some team will help pay for it. And hey, let's talk about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh don't have a quarterback right now.
I know that's a shame, man. They
So,
sitting around waiting for Aaron Rodgers.
right?
That's a
So
shame.
that's
it
what Pittsburgh
might
get,
be
though.
down there with
That's what
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh get. That's their fault.
What
I
do you
still
guys
think
what do you guys think about him maybe showing up in Las Vegas?
who?
Yeah.
Deshaun?
Deshaun.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to change much because they picked up the dude from Seattle, right?
Geno Smith.
Yeah. So they don't have to do much to change the offense around for him. So Deshaun could land somewhere. He could land somewhere. And that's what I think Cleveland is betting on with what they have in the system.
Is it any truth to what I saw on social media about Tyreek Hill coming to Baltimore?
No.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill, they restructuring Tyreek Hill's contract.
Okay.
Now, the problem with Tyreek Hill's contract is if they get rid of him before the summer comes, they save themselves $18 million on the salary cap. Okay. If they keep him, okay, it's going to cost them $24 million on the salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at maybe a $40 million swing, depending on if the Dolphins keep Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to say that the Dolphins may not keep Tyreek because they could save $40-something million.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So that's what's going on with Tyreek right now.
Gotcha.
And they saying, but they were talking about Tyreek to the Dolphins, to the Ravens before the Ravens signed Anthony Hopkins.
Let me ask y'all this.
Hopkins. Damn, I said Anthony Hopkins.
Well, they signed DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
Oh.
Let me ask y'all this, because Tom said, yeah, people like Stephen A. Smith filling y'all minds and y'all heads up with Aaron Rodgers being a bad man. Aaron Rodgers is a choker. Was any of y'all ever sold on Aaron Rodgers besides that Super Bowl that he won in Green Bay? Like,
don't ask the Vikings fan because I think he's dog shit.
Yeah, I never was really sold on. I just thought Stephen A. Smith was just, I don't know, was giving Aaron Rodgers a lap dance, basically.
Hey, let me tell you.
Early in Aaron's career, when he won that Super Bowl, his talent spoke for it. Stephen A. didn't make people, his talent spoke for it. But yes, later in his career, in the big games, he started coming up small.
Yeah, big games, he did come up small.
But he won one. And they won it. That was the first team I really saw won it being one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Green Bay won it until Kansas City did it a little bit. But Green Bay won that thing one-dimensional on Aaron Rodgers' arms.
But see, but we're talking about. But when it comes to Pittsburgh, though, we're talking apples and oranges, because it doesn't have anything to do with Aaron Rodgers' talent. The problem is there's nothing out there better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. If there was something out there better or even comparable, Pittsburgh would do it. But the market is just so dry right now. You know what I'm saying? You have no alternative to figure it out.
Pittsburgh should have drafted a quarterback. They could, and they passed and passed and passed.
That's why I said
they had him in the bag. Maybe they still do.
Is the coach of Pittsburgh going to be on the hot seat? Is he going to be on the hot seat though, Mike Tomlin?
Yeah.
You don't think
because
so?
I'm gonna tell you this, and as much as I like the Pittsburgh Steelers and that organization and everything, I don't think this is a Mike Tomlin call. I don't see Mike Tomlin coaching like this, because when Ben Roethlisberger left, he didn't have lesser talent quarterback that he's ran with. Okay, so I think Tomlin would have been like, look, keep either Russell or Fields, and we'll just run with that, and we just back it up. I think this was coming up from further over his head saying, look, get rid of these two quarterbacks, and we have an opportunity to get Aaron Rodgers, so we need to bring him into the building. So he just has to go with that.
I mean, and the Steelers got even more on their plate, because TJ Watt is refusing to play on this contract. They got to do something for him.
Yeah.
Right.
He makes that team go.
I want some money too from TJ Watt.
Right, and the crazy part about it is if I'm a Pittsburgh fan, why are we even discussing TJ Watt's contract. Why ain't you give this man what he wants? Because he's the only big star that we have. He keeps us in games.
Yes.
We got quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, and we're in games. We go to the playoffs because of players like TJ Watt. So why are we even talking about his contract?
Yeah.
That's why
they
might lose him.
Right. They're making moves like the Cowboys make moves in their front office. Okay? That's what they're doing. They're making moves like the Cowboys do. We should have signed Dak Prescott 3 years ago, but no, we're going to sign him last year and give him all his money for what? You know what I'm saying?
So what do you think about Pickens going to Dallas?
Why?
Okay.
We should have kept Rush. We should have kept him. But no, we let the Ravens pick him up. Okay. Pickens ain't showed me nothing. He hasn't shown anything. Why would we
playing across from Lamb? You don't think that's going to be decent?
Listen, no, because it's a head case.
Okay. There you go.
He's a head case. I think
once Lamb down in Dallas.
Listen, once Pickens figure out that he's a number 2 and he wants to be a number 1 and he gets only three targets a game because CeeDee Lamb is getting 10, there's going to be a problem. It's going to be an issue.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because Pickett is not a role player. That number 2 spot is a role playing position. You got to know your role when you number 2. Now, the only thing that affords the Cowboys are doing going further is putting Lamb in a slot position and putting Pickens in number 1 position. But then when you go number 1 position, you're going to more deep routes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just think Dallas going to have matchup problems at wide receiver. It's going to be hard to double either one of them. And I think that's going to leave. I think that's going to leave a lot of balance for the offense if they establish a running game. They need to get back to running that football.
Yeah.
But see, you forgot who we got throwing him the ball. Mr. Indecisive Prescott.
Dak can throw. I mean,
he can throw, but Dak can also throw a whole bunch of interceptions.
Yeah, but when we need him, guys, you know.
When we need him, he throws wide open interceptions.
Let me ask you this, man. Do you think Dak is an upgrade from Tony Romo?
As far as performance-wise and what's been happening, nah, I think they're about the same. They're about the same. Yeah, I think they're about the same.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony Romo did the same thing Dak did. They get into the where they need to be and then fuck up. Yeah. Dak does the same thing. Gets his mountain. As soon as we start the climbing, start the fuck up. Yeah. Cowboys cannot get out their own goddamn way. And that's the problem with it.
So first of all, Tom said that Mike Tomlin should be on the hot seat. He disagreed, man. He said Tomlin should be on the hot seat, which I agree. I think Tomlin should be on the hot seat. Then he said Romo is a better quarterback than I don't know if I agree. I think they're about the same, Romo and that guy.
I don't think Man was saying he shouldn't. I think Man saying he won't be, and that's based on the Steelers organization. They just don't do that.
Yeah, Steelers. And let's look at Tom and Brooklyn. When has he not been in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. The only 2 people right now that's really coaching is him and then Ravens.
You know what I'm saying? Shit.
I'm a Ravens fan.
Listen,
I don't think I just think
I don't care what y'all saying, okay? I don't care how much y'all think is Lamar doing the whole job and everything.
No, I don't think
your Ravens team is competitive every
They
year.
are because of that, because of Ozzie. And I ain't even giving Eric DeCosta no credit. Ozzie's still pulling them strings and getting players. The Ravens do an outstanding job at hiring coordinators. Point blank simple.
Who do you think is in charge of that?
The GM, not Harbaugh, the GM.
Yeah. Harbaugh puts together his coaching staff.
I'm going to tell you why I know.
His coaching staff.
I'm going to tell you how I know. When Kubiak was here as the assistant, as the offense coordinator, the team had to give him assistant head coach position to be alongside of Harbaugh. Politically, he said all the right things, but he knew he was a better coach than the damn head coach, and that's why they couldn't keep him as well. Harbaugh, they hire people to be beside
I don't
Harbaugh.
care what you may say about Harbaugh. Harbaugh has the next leading tender in his position, not because of Ozzie, not because of the Ravens don't like him, because he's a coach. He
No,
just
he
don't
can't.
coach. You guys
No,
have
he
been in
can't.
the playoffs.
He can't coach. He's a great rah-rah guy. Listen, the Ravens have good coaching, but Harbaugh is not a great coach.
Where do you
That
think
boy
the
that
good
went to
coaching start
Seattle,
from?
that boy Mike McDaniel that went to Seattle had that team number one in unprecedented defense. He had Rex Ryan. He had Chuck Pagano. He had all these great coordinators. He had Kubiak beside him. He had all the guy from the Colts, the black guy. He had him beside. He had all these great coordinators. Harbaugh is not a great coach. I'm just gonna put it out there.
And tell me why. Tell me why.
Why? Because he don't really. Look at the decisions he's made.
I can say some of his in-game decisions, clock management and stuff like that, those decisions, and some of the plays, like when the pressure is on, some of the calls that they run when the pressure is on.
Listen, okay, so you guys are killing me right now because the Ravens were one catch away from tying that game last year. One catch.
We're not saying the Ravens aren't good. What I'm saying is their success is not because John Harbaugh is a good coach.
He's predictable. He's predictable.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you. Listen, just listen, yo. Name one team that's gone all the way without good coaching.
The Ravens.
The Ravens have good coaching. They just don't have a good head coach. They have a good coach. They have good coaching. Position coaches, coordinators. They don't have a great head coach.
How you not listen? How you gonna say they have great coaching and the guy that puts together, the guy that's in the thing telling them what to do is not a good coach?
But John, that's what I'm trying to say to you. John Harbaugh is a manager of that team. He does not dictate and hire those guys. The office does.
Listen, if you think John Harbaugh has nothing to do with them hiring those coaches, you living on another planet.
They let John Harbaugh know what they're going to do.
The coaching hires their coaching staff.
In most cases, yes. But I'm telling you. Go ahead.
Do you think that Harbaugh is like he has the same amount of cachet in that locker room as somebody like a Bill Belichick?
Yes.
And the same type of decision making?
Let me ask you a question. How come when the Ravens lose it's Harbaugh's fault, but when they win it's somebody else's goodness? Tell me why that is.
When they win it's Harbaugh's fault?
When they win, it's the talent. When they lose, it's Harbaugh's fault.
That's not my position.
I always think that the Ravens win in spite of. Like when they won that Super Bowl, I thought it was like in spite of. And even some of the players gave the old school players gave that type of impression that they had to do some things that Harbaugh really wasn't. He really wasn't, he didn't really back some of the decisions that Ed Reed was making on the field or some of the decisions that Ray Lewis was doing on the field. But Ray Lewis had that championship pedigree, whereas though he could get away with some of the stuff and some of the decisions.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give Jim Caldwell a lot of credit for that Super Bowl they made, that run they made 2014 when they made the switch and made him the coordinator. They went on that run. And I'm also going to give Dean Pease a lot of credit. Even though their defense was getting older and they wasn't as great as they used to be, he had a bend, don't break. He was very successful in the red zone, forcing teams to kick field goals. But I just know I've watched Harbaugh, watched the decisions he's made. I've heard him hear calls come in that he know they shouldn't do and don't veto them, don't change them, don't do anything. Then he come to the media. Yeah, I heard it, and I mean, to me, when Ed Reed and them pushed back against him, he got into it with Ed Reed and some of those other guys. That was a sign to me. And I also know that when he didn't have a good coordinator, the team went to shit.
Yeah.
Name one team that has a sucky coordinator and they was great. Guys, are we talking football? This is what
I know. I know, taking New England, for instance. Belichick calls the defense. I know in Kansas City, Reed calls the offense. I know in Philly, their head coach calls the offense. I know Mike Tomlin is very influential on the defense. These are just examples. The guy in Seattle, Pete Carroll, calls the defense.
Hold on. So hold on. Let me finish.
The boy in LA,
I see what you're
Sean
saying.
McVay calls the offense.
I see what you're saying. And the reason, let's go back to your boy in Kansas City. He didn't start calling the offense at the beginning of the year. He started calling the offense because the offense coordinator started to suck. So he had to go back and start.
Andy Reid has been developing coordinators since he's been a coach.
Again, see, you're talking apples and oranges. We ain't talking about what he's developing. You talking about he was calling
developing it because he has an offensive mind. He's an offensive genius.
But listen, you're talking about the reason Andy Reid's calling his plays is the reason he's doing it because they had to let the offensive coordinator go because they stuck in the beginning of the year.
Well, when Eric Bieniemy was the coordinator, Andy Reid was coming up with the game plan, scripting the plays, and Bieniemy was just announcing them.
Oh my God! See,
that's all I know.
So let me ask this. Is Harbaugh basically Mike Ditka 2.0?
But see, I still think Mike Ditka has some defensive savvy.
Yeah,
he takes advantage.
Yeah,
he takes advantage of the talent around him.
Like he was, I think Mike Ditka had more coaching abilities than Harbaugh, if you ask me.
Yeah, Ditka played. Mike Ditka played. Mike Ditka.
Mike Ditka had Buddy Ryan calling his defense.
Yeah, Buddy Ryan.
What the hell are y'all talking about?
Yeah, Buddy Ryan. But also Mike Ditka played football. He understood the game and he understood X's and O's. Harbaugh, he was a goddamn special teams coach. He doesn't know X's and O's. He just don't.
How you not know X's and O's and coaching in the NFL and success he's had all these years? How you not know X's and O's? Y'all gotta stop. Give the man his shine when he gets it.
He may be familiar with X's and O's.
Oh my God!
But he don't know.
Let me ask you a question. How many coaches in the NFL has a better record than he has?
Listen, because those guys.
Ask the question.
I don't know offhand.
And that's the key. That's what I'm talking about. He has had success.
Does Mike Tomlin have a better record than him?
Yes, he does.
Did Belichick have a better record before he left?
He's not in the NFL
Andy
right
Reid
now.
Have a better record than him?
No.
Yes, he does.
He does.
Now listen. All I know is this.
Why do we forget about Andy Reid Eagles years?
He had great records. He kept going to NFC Championship games. What are you talking about?
He went to 2.
He went to more than 2. He went to more than 2.
Oh my God, all right. Bro. How many go to?
I don't know offhand, but I know it was more than 2.
How you going to debate me if you don't know?
I know it was more than 2. I know Donovan McNabb was in 3 NFC Championship games.
Oh my God.
He went 2 without T.O. He went to 1 with T.O. and then he went to the Super Bowl with T.O. But anyway, all I'm saying is this, man. Harbaugh, he may be familiar with X's and O's, but he don't know.
I'm telling y'all Ravens fans. I swear y'all Ravens fans.
I'm not a Ravens fan. I have no team.
Yeah. Let me tell you. Harbaugh, I mean, he's done what he needs to do to keep that organization relevant. Okay? Regardless of who you put on the field, somebody still needs to coach him. For y'all not to give him his props because of what the Ravens, because what Ravens fans do, if they lose, it's all Harbaugh's fault.
Well, I'm not a Ravens fan, and it ain't all Harbaugh's fault. What I'm saying to you is you're right. Somebody has to coach him. The only thing I'm saying to you, man, is the Ravens have good coaching. They just don't have a good head coach.
Listen,
I don't know why that's so hard to understand.
Because you can't say they got good coaching, but they don't have a good head coach. That don't make any sense.
Yes, you can, because the coordinators are putting in game plans, looking over film,
And who
calling
you think
plays. They
approves
got
that?
good
Who you
coaching.
think approves the game plans?
He ain't got no choice because he can't come up with nothing else.
Oh my God! Listen, I don't know what it is, Clay. I don't know. I don't know your sports background and everything. But in football, to play at any level, we all the way up to the pros. Okay, you have to have good coaching because the coach leads the program.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Success
But let me
comes
say this, and I played football. I was a running back. We won the state. We went to. I played football. You're right. You need good coaching. What I'm saying to you is, on your coaching staff, it can be a good staff, but with a weak link. And what I'm saying to you is, the Ravens have good coaching, but the weak link on the staff is the head coach. That's all I'm saying.
You can't name one team that has a weak head coach, a great staff, and wins. The head coach makes all the final decisions. That's why he's the head coach. He's not the second coach. He's not the third coach. He's the head coach.
I give Harbaugh this credit. He knows not to get in them coordinators' way.
Listen. Again, because he knows how important the coordinator's position is. That's why they firing them.
Because the front office has stressed to him. This is what we need you to do. Manage the team.
You, man. Listen, when the Ravens win, it's all about Lamar and everything else going on.
Huh?
I said, when the Ravens win, it's all about how good Lamar and everything going on. When the Ravens lose, it's all about the plays that Harbaugh is calling.
No,
it's been that way for years. But the problem is the only one that's been consistent in the Ravens' last 20 years has been Harbaugh. Not Lamar.
Well, I thought Billick was a better coach than Harbaugh. And I think if Billick would have had the chance to have Flacco, they would have won more. That's just my opinion.
It was one point in time, Flacco was always in the playoffs.
I know, but I think they would have won more. I think they would have went to the Super Bowl more. I think they would have won more. That's just my opinion. Opinion. It's not low.
Yeah.
But Harbaugh can't carry Brian Billick's jockstrap. Brian Billick was just too arrogant. He was just too arrogant. And Jim should be very familiar with Brian Billick, being a Minnesota Viking guy.
But listen, there's nobody doing that. The Lombardi Trophy is going to be renamed the Lombardi Belichick Trophy. Ain't somebody carrying Belichick's jockstrap.
No, I ain't say Bill Belichick. I said Brian Billick. The coach before Harbaugh got there.
What? You saying Brian Billick was better?
Yes.
Oh my God! Can we switch to another topic, please? Please, we need to switch to something else because I don't know what he's talking about now. I don't know what he's talking about.
Tell me.
Hey Jim. So Jim, what do you have to say about Tom's statement? Tom asked you about asked you about the Stanley Cup.
Yep, we got Panthers and Edmonton. Replay of last year. After our conversation last week, I looked it up. I said it'd been like 20 years since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. It's actually been 32.
32 years?
Yeah. So no, I think Edmonton's got a good shot this year. I still like the Panthers to repeat. But yeah, Tom brought it up. That Connor McDavid, the center for the center for Edmonton, he's pretty special. Yeah. He runs that offense really well.
Oh, okay.
I'm still rolling with the Panthers to repeat, but we got a replay of last year, and maybe this is the year. Canada will be celebrating if Edmonton finally breaks through and gets Canada their first Stanley Cup in 32, 33 years, whatever it is.
Because if I'm not mistaken, the Stanley Cup came from Canada, right?
Lord Stanley. Okay. Lord Stanley. Yeah, and this is one of the things I love about hockey. It's just one of those niche things. In all the other four, the other three major sports in North America, right? You've got the Lombardi Trophy. Well, you create a new trophy every year to give to that team. There's only one Stanley Cup,
Yeah.
and there's always only been one Stanley Cup, and you get to rent it for 1 year. You gotta pay with the championship, but you only get to hold on to that Stanley Cup for 1 year. Now your name gets memorialized on there for eternity, right? They engrave your name on there if you're a player on that team that wins the cup. But there's only one Stanley Cup, and the tradition is that if you're on that team and you win, you celebrate with the Stanley Cup, and the you get the parade, and they parade the cup around. But then that whole year, that cup kind of travels from player to player. The player gets to hold on to that cup for 4 or 5 days at a time.
Yeah.
And
Hey, what year was it when they dropped it in the parade?
Oh, that was that. Gosh darn, was that Boston that did that? Somebody did that. Yeah. That was in the 90s. Was that in the 90s? I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know 1 year they just dropped it.
Yeah. No, they. Yeah. It's a fun tradition, and I mean, there's guys that have had their kids baptized, or do like the Catholic baptism. They've had their kids baptized in the Stanley Cup. I mean, they do all sorts of crazy stuff when they get a chance to hold on to it and live with it for a week at a time or whatever. Yeah.
Hey, I can't blame them. If I had a Super Bowl trophy, I think it'd be in the center of my house.
Yeah.
With a spotlight on it.
Yeah.
With ropes around it. Can't nobody go touch it. Alarm system and everything. So
I think Kendall's on the replay crew. He's starting at the beginning of our show.
Right. Yeah. He said something about Angel Reese wanted this attention, and now she don't know what to do with herself. But yeah.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a great show.
Man, we got all over the place.
Everybody got a little bit heated today, except for Jim.
Hey, Jim never gets heated. Jim is just laid back all the way through.
I enjoy the show, man. I like the fireworks. I'll take a side, but I ain't,
So this is the way it is. Mike, you're a Kenny now. Me and Clayton are Barkley and Shaq, okay? We are going to be everybody's new TNT. Huh? Yep, we're gonna be everybody new TNN. We're gonna be what you tune into before and after basketball games and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was funny. That was good. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. We've been almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
basketball coming on today though.
Huh?
Ain't no games coming on today.
We gotta wait till Thursday.
Yeah,
this is the worst time of the season for me. Worst time of the year. There's nothing playing right now. The only thing you got right now playing is baseball.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm hoping it starts raining so I don't have to do no yard work.
Yeah. Early in the season baseball too.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to go to one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
The Green Book.
Oh, the Green Book.
I haven't seen that yet. That's been on my list for forever, man.
You would love it.
Yeah.
I know just based on these conversations. You would love it. Tony Lip and Dr. Sherlin, their relationship is just, it's dope. Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah.
They had to go down south. The name of the movie is Green Book because African American.
I know the story. I know the story, and I'm a huge Mahershala Ali fan.
He's great. He's great actor.
So gifted. He can do so many different roles.
Yeah,
I like the.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm going to go play me some Madden on the PlayStation 5. Get that out the way a little bit. Then hit me some Call of Duty.
My man.
Yeah.
And I might throw in Deja Vu before the night's over.
Yeah.
I love that movie. But anyway.
All right, man. I appreciate y'all. We'll be back. Shoot, we'll have some basketball to talk about next weekend because the series will start back up Thursday anyway, so we'll be good for Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody in the chat. time.
So Mike then shifted off LeBron. Now Ant-Man is his target.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No, man, I'm just being honest
Hey,
about it.
hey, Clay, he gonna do his little shorts about Anthony now. You know what I'm saying? He gonna do his little shorts. Let me tell you guys why Anthony is not really that good in the NBA.
Yeah,
We see
that's
your
what's
shorts,
up,
Mike.
man.
We got you now. We see them
That's
shorts
what's
you be
up,
putting
bro.
out there.
Yep, we see him coming. Yeah.
I'm gonna start. If he does, I'm gonna start stitching those bad boys. With my response.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
man,
John. Appreciate you.
man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate everybody in the chat.
All right,
Make sure
guys,
to
take it
and
easy.
subscribe. We'll see y'all next weekend, next Saturday at 1 p.m. Peace.
All right, peace. Thanks for sending that, Jim. I'm gonna check it out.
Yep.
All right.